Hey there, Squirrel Army. How's it going? For today, we're talking about another of the pre-con commanders from the Lord of the Rings commander decks. This one is for Galadriel, Elven-Queen. You can join the Squirrel Army by subscribing. Alrighty, so we've got a 4 mana 4/5 commander, which those things are pretty darn good for a 4 drop. You know, those aren't bad stats. I wouldn't care if this had 0 power basically, because this is more of an enchantment commander. Like, again, it's not going to Voltron win you the game most of the time, or whatever, the things like that. There are some commanders that you want to be just power, you know. You don't really care mostly what else they do. There are other commanders that are essentially enchantment commanders. You just want them to sit around and gain you value. And I think that that's what this commander's kind of all about. As Simic, obviously, that's what Simic does. So that's kind of cool. They kind of figured out another way to do stuff with Simic. Will of the Council, you know, that whole voting stuff, it always gets a little bit complicated and a little bit confusing when you're doing this stuff. So instead of saying, do you vote for blah blah blah, you know, divination or guidance, I always just try to simplify it. Instead of saying divination gives me this, or, you know, guidance gives me this, I say either you give me the a ring tempts me and put a +1/+1 counter on my ring bearer, or I can draw a card. Make it simple. Like, these are the two options. You either let me get tempted by the ring and get a counter on my dude, or I draw a card. Like, split it up to say that's what it does, because that's really what it does. And that's what this does. So it's only if another elf entered the battlefield under your control this turn and at the beginning of your combat. So we each all vote. And of course, we're going to be able to vote for what we really want. And in certain circumstances, I think most of the time we're going to want the counter and to get tempted by the ring. Again, I'm not 100% sure on everything, what the tempting of the ring does and all of that sort of stuff. I know it's like initiative in a sense, or like the monarch to a degree. It gives you some other random benefits that help you throughout the game. But that does seem a lot more better, because you get this benefit, whatever it is, and a counter on your dude, help you throughout the rest of the game, or you just draw a card. And I'm pretty sure one of the modes on the ring tempting you is drawing a card, or whatever, something like that, at least similar. So again, we probably want to get the first one, the domination vote. So we want to find ways with this deck, not so much group hug, but, you know, sort of group involvement in a sense. We don't mind group hug. That's fine. If you want to go down that route, might even go down that route. That might be perfectly fine, because if people say, oh, you're just doing this random ring tempting stuff and whatnot, so that's kind of cool, and you get a counter on a dude, whatever, that's fine, until you get 30 counters or something, or whatever. But still, like, oh, I'm just trying to do all this janky stuff with the ring tempting me and this and that and all that kind of cool stuff. So we want things that make our opponents vote one way or another, so we want to give them kind of gifts to kind of sway their favor. That, or we want cards that just say, hey, we're voting the way we're voting, and you guys don't actually have much of a choice for the most part. Or if you do, it doesn't matter because I'm going to get so much value anyway. So it doesn't really matter what people vote for. Like if we have something that says when you draw a card, you get tempted by the ring, and if we have something else that says when you get tempted by the ring, put a counter on your dude, or when you draw a card, put a counter on your dude, or whatever. So we want players to be like, well, if we choose giving you the card draw, it's probably just as bad, in a sense, as if we let the ring tempt you. So we might as well let the ring tempt you, because with the synergies that you've kind of built into the deck, it's gonna probably do effectively the same thing either way. If not, it might be better to choose the ring tempting us. So we really want to make it tough for our opponents to not to choose things we don't want them to choose, basically, more or less. This is a very cool commander, and I really like this one. This has actually got like my juices flowing to be like, okay, how can you and I don't know all the cards or whatever because they haven't revealed them. But again, just how could you build a deck with this? How could you make it work? And how can you win with it? That's kind of a difficult question. Like, how do you win with it? It depends what your ring bearer is and how that kind of actually works. I haven't really seen enough of the rules about it to, really comment very heavily on it. But it does seem like a pretty decent mechanic overall, the whole tempting of the ring. It's very flavorful and whatnot for the set and whatnot. I don't know how well it's going to kind of gel with the rest of Commander, though it sounds kind of cool. I'd kind of like to put the ring tempts me into my deck that deals with all the weirdo type mechanics that they've kind of put into Magic, like Monarch and Initiative and that kind of stuff. So it does seem pretty interesting in that regard. It really does give you a cool build around, which is the sort of thing that you want. You want a, 3 or 4 drop commander that you can go, okay, cool. Now I've got my commander out. Now I can start doing stuff and making my deck really work. So this is a really cool commander, and I can't really see much problem with it. Yeah, there could be some issues with it, being a very sort of stacksy type commander or very controlling type commander, which can be very annoying to fight against. So yeah, that could be a minor thing, but that's just a thing of Simic in general anyway. So it's one of those things that you kind of have to almost do play that group hug thing to a degree sometimes, because it lessens those feel bads that people have about, oh man, this person's just running away with the game. What am I going to do? Oh, well, I guess at least they give me an extra card draw, an extra land play, so maybe I'll be able to sort of catch up and kind of hopefully do something. So, that's kind of the idea of a lot of what I play against a lot of decks with this one, is try to flood them out so that they just like, cool, I can't counter everything, I can't kill everything. So obviously somebody's going to, get their stuff through eventually, or whatnot. So if you're the first player, sometimes that's kind of rough, or sometimes if you're the last player, it's kind of a little bit rough, because they really like to, make sure they're countering the most broken thing mostly, or killing the most broken thing mostly. So they either do that, just before their turn or whatever, or just as something's coming out. Unless, of course, it's going to win the game. Then obviously you're going to counter it. Like, that's just, smart. You're not, going to be like, oh, cool, I'm just going to lose the game even though I've got a counter spell in my hand. I'm dumb, whatever. But it is what it is. But anyway, guys, obviously, again, you guys can let me know what you guys think about this one. I think this one's pretty cool, but maybe you guys are like, oh, Simic doing Simic stuff again, lol, or whatever. That's cool. I get that. But again, at least it is something you can kind of build around, and it's not just going to be, oh, cool, I'm going to run all these, things like whatever, Bass's Oracle and that sort of stuff, because it really doesn't fit, though you could, obviously. But whatever. But anyway, as I say, hope you guys have enjoyed and hope you will join me in the next one.